All right, today we need to look at our last piece of writing the equation, writing the model for these trigonometric functions, and that's looking at how our graphing calculator can be utilized and assist us with finding the best sine wave through the given points of data. So, looking at this given example, I think this is an interesting example. Table below shows the number of hours of sunlight for each month during 1 year in Anchorage, Alaska. Time t measured in months, 1 is January. Use your graphing calculator to write a trigonometric model that gives h as a function of t. Okay, so notice, very interesting, during January there's only 5.7 hours of daylight each day. Notice in July there's 19.2 hours of sunlight each day. I just always find that to be fascinating. Okay, all right, so if I want to use my grapher and put my data in, all right, got to turn it on, clear out anything that's in there. All right, you should be able to lead me through this. Where are we headed to get our data into the grapher? All right, let's go to that stat menu that we've always been visiting. And then when I'm in that stat menu, what do I want to do? I want to edit, so I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now it's possible that you have some stuff in there. Does anybody remember how to get that stuff out of my lists? All right, we're going to go up and highlight the L1 or the L2, and how do I get rid of it? Hit clear, nothing happened. Once I go down, it's going to be gone. I'm going to go up to L1 as well, hit clear, and when I come down, everything will be gone. Okay, now as I'm looking at this, these sets of data points, what is going to go into L1? What is going to go into the L1 section? The t, the time, the amount, whichever months we are on. So 1 through 12, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, and then in L2 is going to be the number of hours of sunlight. So make sure you're very, very careful. 5.7, 7.8, 10.4, 13.4, and so on and so forth. Making sure you're very, very careful as you put those data values in. All right, so we have our data values in. Now what? It's back to that stat menu, but this time what do I want to do? I want to calculate. So I'm going to arrow over to that calculate menu, and then which one are we trying to calculate? All right, if you scroll long enough, you'll notice that you get to one that says not sin, but sine regression. Now, just a question. When I looked at this the first time, I said, oh, sine regression. Where's the rest of it? For example, obviously sine is in my list, but what's missing? There's no cosine, there's no tangent, but there's no cosine. Now, any thoughts on why there's sine listed, but cosine is not listed? Any thoughts on why sine is listed, but cosine is not listed? I can't do cosine? It's really the same as sine, except it's shifted left or right. It's really the same as sine, but it's shifted left or right. So why do two? We only need one. So we're going to hit sine regression and then follow with enter. Okay, so as we begin to look at this equation, it's going to be y is equal to, what's my a value? 6.64 sine in parentheses of, what is my b value? 0.51 x plus my c value, negative 1.82 parentheses, plus what is my d value? 12.31 if I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. Okay, now, just a comment. just a comment, as I'm looking at this, they told me first of all that they wanted me to use h as a function of t. So instead of y, I'm going to have h is equal to 6.64 sine, and in parentheses 0.51x plus negative 1.82 plus 12.31. Okay, now I have another comment. As we have been writing these equations, y is equal to a sine of b times the quantity of x minus h plus k. Does the way we've been writing them match up with the way that your graphing calculator has been displaying them? It should be a t. Thank you. Does the graphing calculator display our answer the way that we are used to seeing it? What is different? All right, notice they put the b inside of the parentheses. We do not put the b inside of the parentheses. This is going to really change the situation here. Now, in your homework, I want you to write it exactly as they give it to you. But I want you to realize that this then is not a shift to the right 1.82. Because in order to make that h value shifting left and right, we need to have that b value out in front. So if I really had rewritten this, h is equal to 6.64 sine, and then if I put that 0.51 in front of the parentheses, so 0.51t divided by 0.51 is t, plus 1.82 divided by 0.51 is going to be about negative 3.57 plus the 12.31. So notice this is actually a shift to the right 3.57, not 1.82. Does that make sense to everybody? On your homework, I want you to write it exactly as they give it to you, but I want you to understand that that equation really does look a little bit different than we are used to seeing it. So my a value is still going to help me with the amplitude. My b value is still going to help me find that period. My k value is still going to shift me up and down, but that h value has to have that b out in front of the parentheses before it can shift left and right.
How is it to the right if it's negative?
Remember, it's always the opposite of what is in with parentheses. So instead of t plus a negative 3.57, I could have wrote t minus 3.57.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it's always the opposite of what's in the parentheses and the same as what's outside the parentheses. The shifting left and right is the opposite of what's in here, but the shifting up and down is the same as what's out here.
Okay.
Great question. Anything else? Really just using what we already knew about the graphing calculator and applying it to sine waves. All right.